Good morning, KSP family. Okay, first off, does anybody know how the heck I can do a live on my computer, not just on my phone? Because there may be some issues with the connection. I don't know. If there's been some issues, please let me know. I would love to get some feedback. A lot of people think that it's on their side, but I'm not sure. So I definitely want to rectify if I do not have good connection. So please let me know. I hope your day is going amazing. Hello, Janine. I see you there. I appreciate that you scheduled this in and you're making time to show up on the live. I know that's not always easy. And for those of you who can't do that, it's totally okay. So make sure you're watching the replays. So I hope that yesterday's video really helped to shift your mind into a place of understanding the power of focus. And today I want to begin to break down one of the most important things that is going to help you break the cycle of the commit, quit, feel like shit. We've been talking about the fundamentals of this process all week. And one thing too is that these are all tools that they're not to be used in a certain sequence. They're like principles to be practiced, habits and ways of thinking and perspectives to be practiced all of the time. So however it is that you remind yourself of these things, for me, I need visual reminders. I also need auditory reminders. So I set up like timers to go off. I set up little reminders in my phone to go off. I have sticky notes that I stick places that I look often to help remind me to practice and follow through. I also add certain things into my schedule, so into my calendar, because if I do not make a decision on something that I just know, like, nope, I'm going to decide and I'm going to do. And if it doesn't go into my calendar, then usually I forget to do it. So everybody is different how they work, but I definitely recommend for you to look at, when you are practicing these things, what works for you to remember to practice these things. And maybe it is like writing in your journal, creating that morning routine like I talked about yesterday, and just reviewing for 15 minutes every morning. And I speak to this because this has really been, I've been thinking about this week. The power of discouragement in our lives. Discouragement is one of those feelings that can really put you into a tailspin. And, when we get into that tailspin, we end up sabotaging the progress that we have made. So where does discouragement come from? It comes from our thoughts and our judgments, our blueprint, and the life circumstance. Remember the gap, right? So it comes from the way that we look at things, the way that we perceive things in our lives. And when I feel discouraged, I'm not telling you not to feel it, because it's important to be able to recognize I'm feeling discouraged. It's because I'm thinking this way. And it's important to actually allow yourself to feel your feelings. but don't stay there. Know that you have a choice to focus on something different, right? So for me, let's just, so if my life is not perfect. There's areas of my life that I'm working to improve on all of the time. And there's sometimes things that happen or that I see that all of a sudden it's like a heaviness. It's a heaviness that I feel. And I recognize that it's that I feel discouraged. I feel discouraged when I look and I'm like, I'm just not quite there in my life. Why do I keep doing the same things over and over? Why? And this is the cycles. These are the thought loops that we get caught in. And it makes us feel heavy. It makes us feel discouraged. And like I was saying yesterday, sometimes you wake up and already before you're even out of bed, you feel discouraged. And so one of the quickest ways to get out of discouragement is, instead of looking at the process of what it's going to take to get you to your goal, keep your eyes on the outcome. Keep your eyes on what it is that you're working towards. Keep your eyes on, this is exactly the 90-day you workshop. This is exactly the process of it, is you get your focus on the person that, if it was your absolute ideal 90 days, your eyes are on that person, not on the process it takes to get there, because you will discourage yourself before you even get into motion. And so for me, when I wake up in the morning, the whole thing about my gratitude and then focusing on that future self, focusing on that future goal, I'm not focusing on the process it takes to get there. No, I set my mind on that end result, on that outcome. So let's take an example like working out. So you really want to start moving your body and working out, right? Well, that is like, oh God, it's like, to even get your body moving, to even get yourself going, seems like a huge feat in itself. And maybe you're not moving at all right now. And so it's just like, it just seems like you start to have all of these doubts and fears, and I've never been able to do it before. Why do I think I can do it now? I've never lived my life like this. This is a whole new blah, 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 right? Our minds want to go down that path. So what you have to do is set your mind on the outcome. Focus in on where it is that you're going to be. You have that resolve. You've decided, you've committed, and you have the resolve. And when you do that, it shifts. It shifts you from discouragement and fear that you're not enough, that you can't do it, you've never been out, right? Shifts you from that to a place of hope, to a place of belief. It shifts you, but you have to watch your mind, because your mind is tricky. It's going to want to just go, nope, come back here, right? So you have to watch those ruts in your mind, those neural pathways, and shifting yourself to the outcome that you desire and keeping your mind focused in on that. Feel a shift inside of you, and you'll begin to feel more encouraged, more there's a word on the tip of my tongue, not encouraged, but determined. Instead of discouragement, you'll feel determined. And so you focus in on the outcome as long as you need to, till you start to feel that determination, till you start to feel that courage rise up in you. Get rid of the dis and move into the courage. So discouraged? No. Move into the courage. And so, part of that, it flows into what I'm going to talk about today, and that is the verbal beatings that we put ourselves through. I often say that I've lived in an abusive relationship for 40 years. Hasn't been 40 years because, well, actually, yeah, because still my brain wants to be hard on myself. My brain wants to tell me the areas that I don't measure up. My brain wants to offer me thoughts that make me feel discouraged, that make me feel not good enough, that make me feel that I just can't seem to get this. And when I feel discouraged, when I allow myself to verbally abuse myself, then I end up doing the exact things that I'm beating myself up for. I end up checking out. I end up going and watching Netflix. I end up, drinking a little too much wine. I end up eating foods that don't serve my body. I end up not moving my body. I end up checking out. I seek false pleasure. I avoid pain. I don't want to feel the discomfort of looking at my thoughts and looking at how I feel. And instead, I go to the things that provide ease and comfort, the things that I know, right? And so if we do not recognize, if we're not aware of what our brain is offering, if we're not aware of these verbal beatings, we think that if we beat ourselves up, then we will eventually, right? It's like if you hate your body long enough, you will eventually make changes. But that's not true. If we're angry at ourselves long enough, then maybe we'll make a change. But no, it's the exact opposite. It is the choice, it is the decision to choose to feel love. And how do you feel anything? It's by watching the thoughts that run through your brain. So even the simple shift of I didn't do it again today, shifting it to, you know what, I didn't do it again today, but that's okay. I'm committed to imperfect action. I'm committed to one step after another. And it's just those small, tiny shifts. And trust me, every day you will move towards that. But beating yourself up is not going to get there. Being angry with yourself, being discouraged, being disappointed, that is not going to move you in the direction you need to go. So what is it that you need to think today that's believable to you? I'm not telling you to think all this mamby-pamby positive thinking. No, you need to think in a way that shifts how you feel enough that you're not feeling discouraged, but you're feeling hopeful. Shift how you feel enough. Think in a way that's just and maybe it's just adding on those little things at the end. You know what? Not where I want to be yet, but I'm on my way. I'm so committed to this. I've got my own back. I'm showing up for myself. I'm showing up for the life that I know that I was meant to live. I am not giving up. It doesn't matter what it takes. It is so planted inside of me that it's I remember one of my friends saying to me one day, she said, Chair, you've been through so much shit in your life. I just don't understand, what has kept you going? How do you wake up and you're still passionate? And I thought about it for a second. It didn't take me long. And I said, there's always been this fire inside of me. And there's been times where I couldn't even see the fire. It was the next morning when you've been camping all weekend, you had a big fire the night before, and then in the morning you stir the pit and there's still those embers in there, and all you have to do is throw a little bit of wood on there and right back up, right? It's exactly. There's always been this ember. Different things want to snuff it out. Life happens, disappointments come, fear sets in. But I just clear away that the ashes on top, the buildup. I just add a little bit of wood. And you know what? It's like, and that is the hope inside of me that there's something more. There's something it's like Pocahontas, just around the river bend. Oh God, I've got a good story about that. Actually, I got to build that into something because that's a friggin' funny story. But it's this hope that there is something more. And sometimes it just takes a little bit of stirring that up. So what has it taken you to stir it up? The morning routine, the gratitude, the focusing on the outcome. These are the pieces, these are the elements that are key, but do not beat yourself up. That's the ashes that's going to snuff that fire out. And when we have thoughts, it doesn't mean that those thoughts are true. Just because your brain offers you a thought does not mean that it's true. It is just a thought, and thoughts have been thought for millions of years, or however long, I don't know. I don't even know. I should really look up how long have humans been around. If anybody knows that, please tell me. So it's like we have to choose the thoughts that we think, because thoughts are like energy waves. Why do you think that the movie, the TV, the Netflix, all of that stuff is such a multi-billion-dollar industry? It's because people don't like how they feel, and they use that to check out of how they feel. And so it's like literally energy waves come through our TVs because let's go back to the seed analogy, they plant these little seeds in our heads that create feelings in us. They evoke feelings in us and emotions, right? And that's why, for me, I can't watch scary movies. Imagination is so intense that like that shit gets locked in there, and I could be for days, weeks, months feeling fear because of these scary movies. I don't like that. So, but that is literally how that works. And it's like these energy waves, these thoughts create vibrations in our bodies. And how we vibrate all day long affects what create in our worlds. And so we have to look at what are the thoughts that are creating those feelings within us. What is it that we're focusing our minds on? What are we choosing to think? And at first, when you first start doing this, first start noticing, you can't change anything until you're aware of it, right? Until you start noticing this, you can't change it. And then when you do notice it, we often go to beating ourselves up for it. So you've got to stop the beatings. No more. And when you catch yourself doing it, don't get mad at yourself for doing it. Just notice, oh, this is just what my brain does. It's just what it's done because it thinks it's helping me. So I see you, brain. Thank you for that. I'm going to let that shit pass. It's not serving me. You can just keep on going. Your brain's going to want to keep going back there. It's like the dog and the bone. Just nope. It's all good. It's all good. I'm not thinking that anymore. It's like me and my smoking. I'm not a smoker anymore. And you could be like, I decided I'm not in an abusive relationship anymore. And so this is why the whole thing that, encouraging the guys to give words of encouragement, to get into the group and encourage others. When you see people are not engaging, like, hey, how's the challenge going for you? Our world is starved for encouragement. I just read this thing by John Maxwell. He was talking about his dad and encouraging others. And John says to his dad, how do you know that they need encouraging? And his dad's answer was so beautiful. He said, son, if they have breath in their lungs, if they're breathing, they need encouragement. Every human needs encouragement. We need to give it to ourselves, but sometimes that's really difficult. And one of the best ways that I've found when I need encouraging, I just get out there and I start encouraging. I start being a cheerleader for somebody else. I start showing up and I just start loving on them. And, it's the planting of the seeds. The more you plant, the more chance you have of more harvest. It's like when you have a lawn that's full of weeds, like thousands of weeds, you don't go out there and try to freaking pluck all those weeds out. Heck no. You may pluck a few of the really big ones that have grown taller than you. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but I have. Although I'm not that tall, so it's not that hard. But you don't try to pluck all those weeds. No, you take seed and you throw the seed on and you nourish the seed, right? And that's exactly, you start planting in the seeds and you give it the nutrients and the ingredients and the things that those seeds need to grow. And the way that we speak to ourselves, it doesn't matter what people say to us. If we do not start actually nourishing and planting the thoughts that are encouraging to us, our brain believes our thinking more than anything else. Our subconscious, this is an interesting fact. Our subconscious does not know the difference between imagined and reality. And so, clients have said to me like, but Charity, I'm lying to myself. I'm not good at this, and I'm not amazing, and I'm not, you know what? You're not lying to yourself. You're choosing to believe something different that you've never believed before. And your brain does not know the difference. So what is it that you're choosing to think that is serving you or hurting you? And my brain will even say to me like, oh, you're just blowing smoke out your ass. You believe in this great future, like as if you'll ever get there, right? This is the thoughts my brain likes to think. And I'm like, you know what? When I think that, I feel discouraged and I feel like a piece of shit. Just be honest here. But when I think that I can do this, that I was born for this, I feel amazing. When I start to believe that, I feel amazing. And so, whether it's true or not, whether I ever live out the life that I want to live, I'm going to be a heck of a lot more apt to getting there by feeling amazing and determined and excited and passionate than I will from feeling discouraged and like a piece of shit. So, you know what? I'm just going to friggin' choose to believe it. I'm just going to choose to go all in on myself. And anytime my brain wants to tell me that I'm lying to myself, anytime my brain wants to tell me something different, I'm not going to let it. I'm going to catch it. The moment I catch it, I am going to decide, no, I don't want to feel like that. Sorry, brain. But I don't want to think like that. And so I'm going to shift my thinking. Notice by how often it's the red flags of like, you'll be feeling off and it's like, oh God, what's going on? We want to blame someone. We want to blame circumstances. We want to blame, right? But feelings are never caused by someone else. Feelings are always caused by what we are thinking. And that it's a huge misconcept that we've been taught and we're still teaching and we still believe that other people can cause how we feel. No, it is absolutely 100%. Our feelings are caused by what's going on in our brain. And often that stuff is so automatic. It could be caused by something trauma that's happened in your life that your brain just instantly goes back there, right? It happens so fast that you can't even see the thought. And the more we practice it, the more we get better at it. And the more we practice it, the more we're able to actually go the deeper layers of what's truly going on within us. And, sometimes we've had wounds so deep in our lives that we have these instant reactions, these instant responses that we don't even know what's truly going on. And the only way you can ever heal that is to actually feel it. You have to be able to clean out the wounds and feel it. I believe through and through that, we've shoved down our feelings so much that they actually get trapped. We don't know how to feel in a way that actually processes. When you think about a vibration in our body, it's not meant to get trapped in there. No. And when we try, you think about a ball that you try to hold down in water, or a pressure cooker, and how it just builds up, builds up, builds up. When we don't know how to actually feel what's going on, we're trying to hold it down. We're trying to not allow it. And when we just let it up, when we know that we can feel this and process it and name it, and actually we feel feelings in our bodies, but we disassociate, we disconnect because we don't like how it feels. I want to challenge you to just sit in the feeling and notice, where's it showing up for you? Is it in your shoulders? Is it in your stomach? Is it fast? Is it slow? If it had a color to it, really examine, what does this feeling feel like? The more you begin to allow that vibration to go through you, it comes on like a wave. It will retreat. But often we're standing there trying to stop the wave. Shit doesn't work. Or we run from the wave. It doesn't work. You have to be willing to ride the wave. You have to be willing to, just allow it to be there. And when we do, that's when we get into the flow of our lives. I often talk about the idea of an undercurrent. And we have these undercurrents within us. These ways of thinking that make us feel a certain way. And we're either running from it or we're pushing against it. And it makes it so much of a struggle. But if we stop doing that and we start recognizing these patterns of thinking and these patterns of feelings, these emotional homes that we go to, because it's what we know, then we allow those things to direct our lives instead of us directing our lives. So why so many people have panic attacks is because they don't know how to the panic attack is caused by the inability, they just don't know how to feel the anxiety. And so it's holding down that anxiety for so long. It's just building up, building up, building up, and then shit explodes. And it's just naturally your body cannot contain it anymore. And when we start to be able to recognize and notice this stuff and feel and become aware, I actually made up this process. It's called APAR, A-P-A-R. You're aware, you process, you accept, and you release. And through doing that process is where you find true healing. And it's amazing because for me, it's when one layer is cleaned out, I see it go. Guess what? The next layer shows itself. So we are these little onions that are constantly being, peeled and peeled and peeled and peeled. And it's an amazing journey. It's not easy. But you know what? I'm about living my life to my fullest. And I want to surround myself and live my life with people who want the same. So wherever you're at in this journey, I am so grateful for you to be here. Like, so freaking grateful. I can't even say my gratitude in words, because it's people like you that make me, it's why I do what I do. It's why I wake up every day. It's why I'm passionate. It's because I know that you want more. And I love that you are showing up and doing what it takes, no matter how hard it is. You need to stop the verbal abuse. No more. If your friend was sitting there punching herself in the face, what would you do? You would stop her, right? It's exactly what you're doing by having the verbal beatings. So anytime you just see it, you would stop it. Stop it. Stop it right now. Just decide. It's no longer. So I want to make sure. I know it's 10:32 here, so I gotta wrap this up. But I want you guys to know that I love you and I'm cheering for you. And I believe in prayer. So whether you do or not, that's okay. But I do. So I'm praying for you, because I really do want to see the breakthroughs and the love and the light just shine right through you. Now more than ever, our world needs warriors. Our world needs people who can love themselves and can love other people, because it's really truly comes down to, it's love that is going to change our world. But we have to know how to love ourselves before we can ever truly give that to others. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, whatever you're working towards, don't stop. Keep taking imperfect action, one day at a time. And I love you. And I hope your day is full of beautiful things, as beautiful as you are. My business cards, they're just these little cards that say hello beautiful on one side. And I did it that way so that people could actually take that little card and just stick it to their mirror so they could see this hello beautiful. Start saying that to yourself in the morning. Hello beautiful, even if you don't believe it. Say hello beautiful. Look yourself right in the eyes. Just say it as if you were like your greatest lover that was like so in love with you. Just look right in the eyes and say hello beautiful. Because you truly are beautiful. Each and every one of you, even if I don't know you, I still love you. Why not? When I choose to love you, I feel love, right? You don't feel it. You might feel it. It's like that vibration come through, right? But I feel it. And I love feeling love. It's like such a wonderful feeling. The best feeling. Anyways, I'm just rambling now. So, love you, and I will see you tomorrow.